My friends, a new Pokémon Snap game has recently been announced for the Nintendo Switch, a long-awaited follow-up to the original Pokémon Snap for the Nintendo 64, a game you perhaps haven't thought much about in 20 years. But did you know, in that time, battles have been raging on in the valleys, rivers, beaches, and volcanoes of the original Pokémon Snap video game? Competition and rivalries for the high scores of the game's 63 snappable Pokémon. And of those records, one stands above the rest for most insane, perfect seeking, squeeze a Pokémon into every inch of the frame madness. This is the story of the quest for Pokémon Snap's perfect Charmander score. Charmander score. Charmander score. But before we get into that, let's talk about the sponsor for today's video, NordVPN. A VPN, as you know, very useful tool to protect your information and anonymity online, and just a way to more safely browse the internet. I actually just uploaded a video last week on another channel which was blocked in these 4 countries. Pretty crazy, I know, but could your country be next? NordVPN can help you get around region-locked content so you can enjoy the open internet to its fullest, the way it was intended. NordVPN has an easy extension for Chrome, it works on most operating systems, and it connects so quickly to its servers in 59 countries around the world, whichever one most suits your needs. And right now, with my special link, you can get 70% off NordVPN on a 2-year deal, a very affordable $356 a month. Plus, you get an additional month for free. Just go to nordvpn.com/staytrue or use coupon code STAYTRUE when you check out. It's that easy, my friends. Truly remarkable. A huge thanks to NordVPN for helping me out with this video, and let's carry on. So, before we explain the madness that is the Charmander high score on the volcano level, the most ridiculous of all high scores in the game, here's a refresher on how Pokémon Snap works, in case you haven't played the game in over 20 years, or maybe never played it at all. So you go into one of 6 levels, and you're in this on-the-rails cart cruising through the stage. Well, not always quite on the rails, you can sort of move back and forth within a small range on some levels, depending on where you're looking. Like you can look to the left and hug the left side of the river over here, or hug the right side of the bank of the river over here. But you can't travel anywhere outside of a fairly narrow range. Okay, of course, the name of the game is to take pictures of Pokemon and get the highest scores possible. So, how does the scoring work? Well, scoring is based on 2 main criteria. You get a score for size, which is pretty intuitive. The larger in the frame, the better. Size is scored on a 10 to 1000 range, in the tens, so you can't get a score of like 935, but 930 and 940 can happen. And you don't want it too up close, otherwise you start losing points again. Then you also get a score based on the Pokemon's pose. For many Pokemon, a picture of them just going about their business will get you a pose score of 800 or 1000. However, if the Pokemon is doing something special, this score can go over 1000. For example, Pikachu just standing there, 800 pose score. But Pikachu responding to the music of your Pokeflute by discharging electricity? Wow, very shocking, that's worth 1300 points. So your size score and pose score are added together, and then if your Pokemon is centered, generally in the middle of the screen, the score is doubled. So these are the 3 most basic elements: size, pose, and centered. By the way, if you're interested in where to go to check out the awesome world records for the game's 63 Pokemon, you can find them on cyberscore.me.uk, the go-to, well-administered website for high scores. And yes, there are only 63 Pokemon in the game, unfortunately not all 151 make an appearance, So fingers crossed for even more snappable Pokemon in the upcoming Switch sequel to this game. But back to scoring. There are two extra things to note. Some Pokemon have special scoring bonuses, like a rare situation you might find them in. For example, Graveler's Group Dance, that's a bonus. Fighting Magmar, bonus. Pikachu on a surfboard, bonus. There are only a handful of these in the game, and it should be noted that not all Pokemon have specials. In fact, very few do. Charmander, whom we'll get to in a moment, does not have a special bonus. There is another bonus, however, and this one is the key to Charmander high scoring, and many other Pokemon too. And that's the Extra Pokemon bonus. You see, if you have two or more of the same Pokemon in a single frame, you get additional points for these Pokemon. The game estimates the size of these other Pokemon and adds them all up, and adds that to your total score at the very end, after it's been tabulated and doubled and all. So this Extra Pokemon bonus does not get doubled at the end. This means that if there's only one extra Pokemon in the picture, so 2 total, the maximum score you can get from this extra Pokemon is an extra 1,000 at the end, since size only goes up to 1,000. It doesn't matter if they're doing the same pose as the main subject, nor does it matter if they're centered in the picture. All that matters is their size, how many of them are taking up how much of the photograph. And so this is part of the reason why Charmander is the most epic and competitive of all Pokemon in Pokémon Snap. It's the single Mon which you can get the most of the same Pokemon in a single shot. By feeding these 2 Charmander apples, the first 2 that spawn into the level, they can each call 2 more of their friends, for a total of 6 Charmander possible in a single shot. Now, as you can imagine, getting even one single Pokemon lured to the correct position and snapping a single picture with the right timing, the perfect moment, the right pose, it takes a mighty combination of luck, practice, and clutch execution. However, getting 6 Pokemon in the exact right spot? Yeah, that is much more insane. On top of this, with one bonus Pokemon in the picture, we know the maximum bonus size can be 1,000. We see a record fairly close to this with Magmar, where Fekaterago, the Pokémon Snap champion and master, has a world record of 6980. An 800-point fighting Magmar bonus, a perfect 1,000 main subject size, a perfect 1,200 pose score, and then 980 out of a possible 1,000 extra Pokemon bonus points. Very close to the theoretical Magmar max of 7,000. And so, in theory, with 2 bonus Pokemon in the picture, the bonus size would max out at 2,000. Though whether or not you can get 3 total Pokemon in a single picture, each with a size of 1,000, 1,000 is the main subject size and 2,000 for the extra Pokemon, well, that's a matter of debate and may not actually be possible. Here are 2 more quick examples of high-scoring Pokemon with 3 total Mons in the picture. In the Bulbasaur record, 5,800 by Fekaterago, his main subject gets 1,000 points, with 1,400 for the extra 2. In the Vulpix record, 5,570, also by Fekaterago, he scores 960 on the main subject and 1,650 for the 2 extra Pokemon. You can see we're getting close to 2,000 for the 2 bonus Pokemon, but not quite there. Even the Squirtle record, with 3 additional Squirtles in the pick, has a bonus score of 1910. As you see, it's extremely difficult, maybe even impossible, to get a perfect picture when 3 or more Pokemon are involved. There's simply not enough room on the screen to get the maximum size on all the Pokemon in these 3 or more Pokemon scenarios. So you can imagine, once we have 6 Pokemon in the picture, we're in a battle with every inch of available screen space to fill it up with Pokemon somehow. And the last thing to mention that really makes Charmander high score attempts the most epic competition in all of Pokémon Snap is, well, the layout of the volcano stage where he's found. You see, there's this Moltres egg right here blocking your path. On a casual playthrough of the volcano, you have to knock this egg into the lava pit to hatch the legendary Pokemon, Moltres, of course, of which you can then snap a nice pic. However, unlike his 2 legendary bird brethren who have their own unique ways of hatching, Moltres is simply in your way on Volcano. This is the only moment in the entire game where your path is entirely blocked by some kind of obstruction. The egg doesn't move until you hit it with an apple or a pester ball, your two projectiles. And then the Charmanders are right over here, hanging out on this little plateau. So what this all means is that you can play around with Charmander, painstakingly moving them around, lining them up in such a way that you can basically play forever until you snap and set up the perfect Charmander score. So what is this perfect Charmander score? Well, no one really knows, and that's what we're going to get into. So first things first, what's Charmander's best pose? Well, it's not him roaring here or just walking around, but it's actually when you feed Charmander an apple. He bends his face down to eat it, though he doesn't really eat it, and he jumps up and down for a bit in happiness. Any snapshot from this moment will get you a 1200 point Charmander pose score. So you could just lure all 6 Charmanders into one great pile, throw them an apple, take a picture of a main subject with all the other Charmanders strewn about in the background, and you'll probably get a fairly decent score this way. Something in the 4,500, 5,000 point range, which is quite nice. If you pick the game up yourself, I'd recommend getting a few picks like this to set an early personal best score. But what if we want to do just a little bit better and start creeping towards the 6,000 point range? Well, here's a setup that can do just that. See, you obviously want to pull at least 2 Charmanders as close to the edge as possible. They can't fall off this ledge, by the way. Only certain ledges in the game can Pokemon be bounced off or into. So naturally, you throw some apples close to this ledge and they'll follow the apples towards you. However, if you do this too much, all the Charmanders kind of spread out in a line across the ledge. They have fairly sizable hitboxes which prevent them from getting too close side by side, so we need to spread them out a little bit in a better order to snap a better picture. To do that, we need to use a Pester Ball, which temporarily knocks Charmander out, but keeps him in the same position when he gets back up. We do this to freeze the ones we have in the correct spots, and then painstakingly use apples to lure the other Charmanders step by step into the perfect position. You might also be hearing this Pokeflute cycle through 3 different melodies, playing it with your C down button after each throw. The Pokeflute can have vastly different effects on various Pokemon, but for Charmander, it freezes them again in position, kind of entranced, marching in place to the beat. If you try to set them up without using the Pokeflute, in between the apple tosses and Pester Ball throws, the Charmanders will get bored and just start roaming around. Obviously, no good. But if you knock, for example, 4 of them down with Pester Balls and then throw an apple, let the other 2 walk towards the apple, then play the flute after a couple steps to freeze them in that exact spot. Excellent, that's exactly how to do it. So after a few seconds to a couple of minutes, you can get this beautiful Charmander layout. Now, throw an apple at the left foot of the Charmander on the front left, press Z to go in for the snap, click A to shoot, and boom. Wow, it is truly remarkable and utterly beautiful. A shot like this can absolutely deliver you a nice score around 6,000 points. Pretty awesome. There are still even fewer than 20 scores ranked on Cyberscore over 6,000 points, so you would be in pretty good company. But what if we want to score even higher? Well, here are a couple more important things to note. You really want the front 2 Charmanders, and especially the one on the right, to be as close to the edge as possible. When he goes for the apple, you want his left foot to be off the edge, in fact. Throwing apples into the chasm only gets them so close to the edge, so there are a couple of techniques to get them a little bit closer. You can do this clever apple bonk setup, or alternatively, when setting up all the Charmanders, you can lure the back group to push the front pair as close to the edge as possible, Pester Ball the ones in the front, and then get them to push the front pair again as close as possible, and they get pushed almost into the chasm, closer to the front than they ever would get by walking. Another thing to note is that when you're standing in this spot and you look down, then use the camera's zoom, it'll only let you move up and down so far on the XY axis. However, you'll notice that in high scoring record attempts, you actually look to the right, then zoom in with the camera and bring it back to the main group of Charmanders. Having zoomed in while looking elsewhere can bring you a closer up-down angle when you pull it back over here. So, all that being said, what kind of scores are we looking at? A well-framed picture like this can definitely score in the 6100, 6200, even up to 6300 range of points. Let's take a look at some pictures to compare. Of course, these comparisons are not meant as harsh criticisms, they're simply commenting on old scores and sharing knowledge on how to improve. In 2019, the Charmander high score record was 6370 by Japanese gamer Fekaterago. We'll use this as our template to discuss where other scores lost points, in hopes we can find a way to do better. In this 5760 by Koto219 from 2016, we can see the whole picture is set up aiming more towards the right. This results in a smaller main subject Charmander, probably lost 100 or more points there, which doubles to a 200 point loss. Much of the back right Charmander is blocked by the one in the front, and we can see just how important it is to get the front left Charmander in the moment of being struck by the apple for maximum size value, squared up directly facing the camera. Here's an ancient 5920 from Money Mike from back in 2012. His main Charmander is much larger, which is good, but he's now set up aiming a little bit too much to the left. We can tell based on the angle of the ledge at the bottom. As a result, there are only 4 bonus Charmanders in the shot instead of all 5. The top right one got left out completely. With him in there, that might have gotten a bonus 100 or 150 points. Furthermore, the middle Charmander could be a little bit closer or more towards the camera. As it stands, about half of him is blocked out by the rightmost Charmander. This one has a lot of potential and is really close to cracking the 6000 number. This 6020 by Alexank is quite nice, starting to get the setup a lot more down pat. Again, his angle is aimed a little bit too much towards the right, which will result in a lower scoring main subject. The front left Charmander appears to have not been hit by the apple as he's running in from a position further back, so some points were probably lost there as well. So there are some shots to give you a good idea of how scoring works and how records can slowly creep up towards the world record status. We're still quite far from a 6370 though, seemingly the perfect Charmander pick, right? Well, not quite, because you see in 2020 a slight alteration to this technique was discovered. If you pester ball the back right Charmander and time throwing the apple and taking the picture in such a way that you snap the shot right as the back right guy is sort of in the process of standing up, you can actually snap more of his character model in that top right corner of the picture than you could before. I know in some of the best pictures you can't even really see that he's there, but his character model is all there hiding behind the flames. And the flames don't seem to block out points the same way other Charmander's bodies do. As a result of this, gamer Tsukige was able to nab this beautiful score of 6500 flat, a beautiful video showing the setup and the results screen. Very, very nice job, Tsukige. Amazing shot. However, in only a matter of days, he would be beat by his rival and reigning champion of the Pokémon Snap high score game, Fekaterago, with this incredible 6520 where the record stands today. A perfect, or close to it, Charmander picture. Well, likely yes. It is almost certainly possible to squeeze at least 10 more points out of this score, and likely a fair bit more. In theory, and theory only, we do have 5 bonus Charmanders, and so with a maximum theoretical pool of 5,000 bonus points, and Fekaterago's world record having 2,200 bonus points, there's still possibly some room to work with. That 2,200 is insane, of course. I mean, we can see that by copy-pasting the main subject Charmander that, I mean, yeah, getting anywhere close to 900 points for even 1 or 2 Charmanders is super unlikely, like good luck fitting them in there. So 2,200 might just be approaching the upper limit on what is possible for the bonus Pokemon Charmander score, but you have to think that slightly higher is out there waiting to be snapped. There may be other setups which are discovered, perhaps from the same position or perhaps further down the course. This score of 6160 by Maximus Prime from 2016 is quite fascinating. I can't even definitively tell where he is, and he likely lost a good deal of points due to the main subject Charmander being smaller. I'd love to see his detailed report to know for sure, but the layout of his 5 bonus Charmander show a ton of potential. Definitely an interesting setup that could be looked into further. This second ledge here is also quite interesting. You can't set it up very well because your throwing angle will hit the Moltres egg out of the way before you can lure the Charmander too close to the edge, but it is much easier to get a high-scoring main subject from this angle. The trade-off is, well, way lower scoring bonus Charmanders, unsurprisingly. But this setup is still very unexplored, and who knows if something epic will be found someday down the line. So, 6520 is getting close to the perfect Charmander picture. Higher is probably possible. It'll always seem possible since, again, we have 5 bonus Charmander to play with. You'll almost certainly always be able to squeeze out a little more points from the picture, slowly grinding up 10 points at a time. Is 6,600 possible? Perhaps someday. 6,700? It feels like it's starting to push it, but who knows? 68 or 6,900? Probably not, but I'll still leave those doors open as you never know what'll be found in these old games. So, wow, that's the incredible story of the quest for Pokemon Snap's perfect Charmander score, or at least as close as we can get to perfect. I know this is the first time I've made a video about Pokemon on this channel, so if you enjoyed this content and want to see more Pokemon Snap videos, be sure to drop a cheeky like and subscribe so I know that you're up for it. I mean, I'm probably gonna do another Pokemon Snap video anyways, but hey. I've also started to stream a little bit more regularly again, playing to improve my own Charmander score, so bop that follow button and watch me go for glory live. The link is in the description. In any matter, a huge thanks to all those who watched to this point and enjoyed. Good luck in your own pursuits of Charmander perfection or whatever gaming goal you have in mind. Stay true, my friends, and I'll see you in the next stream or video.